Yes, I still do have some questions though.
Okay.
Revisiting the Orca versus Aguleri dynamics. It's an interesting one that uh, the instrument is made in Orca and used in Aguleri. Um, I'm beginning to wonder, are there any kind of history, that would have that will lead us to how did the Aguilera people what was the significance of this to them, and why did they is it a case of they needed this instrument and they went all the way to Oka to seek out the blacksmiths to make it, or that Oka made an instrument, somebody made an instrument and decided to market it in Aguilera? Like, how did it come about? Did we find anything along that line?
Yeah, the dynamics of Oka Aguleri and Okozo's story is quite an interesting one. But during the course of my research, I came across certain documents that suggested that since the Ogene and Oka was one of the early ritual music or ritual songs found among the Igbos, it kind of suggested that these traditionalists or practitioners from Aguleri kind of went to Oka because they are known for blacksmithing, went to Oka to make the request for this instrument to be made, how they wanted it to be made, and what they were looking for. And this was how the instrument was initially constructed before, them taking it back to Aguleri to use it for their practice. And so I think that's what I would say happened. But more consultations could lead to more clear view on how this origin story is linked. So I think that's basically what I would say from research that I did about the Ogene instruments and how the Ogene how its influence in Ogene and Oka. This was what I was able to come up with. But I think Anu has an addition to that. Let's hear from you, Anu.
Thank you, Kosi. I'm just thinking also, postulating, let me say that it's possible that the farming equipment that we're using at Aguleri were gotten in Oka. And while, because Oka was an iron smithing community, Aguleri was a fishing and farming community, especially that it was founded along the banks of the Omambala River. So it's possible that when these guys went for their farming equipment, it's possible that they saw the blacksmiths, because there's a high chance that the blacksmith played this instrument, but they did not, maybe sounding it in their workshop while they made it. And then these guys, when they came for their farming equipment, their hoes, their cutlass, their yokes and all that, possible that they saw those blacksmiths make samples of this thing hanging in their store, tried it, and then that's in their foundry, tried it, and then took it back to the village, back to Aguleri. And then from there, the interest grew. You know, when mystery surrounds something, most times the natural response is curiosity. You're like, okay, you want to find out what's this thing about. And it's possible that as time went on, the found uses for this thing from entertainment, also probably in Orca then also probably was only for religious or spiritual activities. But when they got to Aguleri, those ones used for entertainment and gradually start expanding to other areas of life. And then with that, you see it find uses in different areas of life. I don't know if you have watched this. Is it Gods Are Dead or something like that? That the Coca-Cola bottle fell from the sky. And you could see how the Coca-Cola bottle became a very interesting tool, from grinding to pounding to all sorts of that they were using for, until it now became a bone of contention in that small farmstead before the owner, the can't remember his name, now decided to travel to the end of the earth to go and throw the Coca-Cola bottle away. So it's possible that it's that was the interaction, farming equipment, seeing it in the foundry, picking it up, taking it back for entertainment and like that, and using it to boost morale, and then finding uses in other areas of life as time went on. Well, that's my own theory of oscillation. It can be wrong. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And very interesting thought. I think that's another perspective to look at this from, because when you live in Oka, there's this story about when not killing monkeys in Oka because they see this animal as a guardian of the village. So when the story was that there was supposed to be an invasion. They wanted to like in another community. I can't remember the community exactly. Wanted to ambush them, and then the town crier went about, and town criers in Igbo land are attributed to the Ogene. The Ogene is attributed to the town crier rather. Went about, calling out everyone, but there was, I don't know why, but they said nobody heard till the monkeys around the town started, making noise, and they wondered what's going on, and it kind of got them prepared and worried and prepared, and they were able to evade that ambush from that community, and they didn't lose the war. So it kind of made them start this tradition of not killing monkeys because they see it as a guardian of the town. So I think that's one way to look at it. That okay, since the this Ogene wasn't really used to inform the villagers of this ambush. There's no need to incorporate it into, a proper tradition or culture of the town, although it can still be used by a town crier, but maybe not entirely into the tradition. So they kind of moved it, and they kind of felt calm about giving it out to strangers. So that's a possibility. So thank you very much for mentioning that and bringing that to our attention. I know it's a very interesting thought. I must say.
And this story you just told about the monkeys, the monkey in Oka, that's interesting. It's interesting because I know in just down the road from Oka is Ogidi, and I know that they worship pythons. Not kind of worship, but
Yeah,
they have this same kind of respect for pythons.
yeah.
And the story, you dare not kill a python in Ogidi. If you kill a python, you have to bury it like you bury a human being and do funeral for it. And the story is that during the war, while they were escaping, I don't know if it was the Nigerian Civil War or there was a different kind of war, but there was a war, and the python, while the villagers were escaping, the python would come behind them and clean their footsteps so that the attackers would not know where they went. And so they hold the python in such regard. And that story similar to what you just shared about the monkey warning the village about an imminent attack. And so it's held in high regards like that as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for mentioning that, pointing out some of the traditions that we see among the Igbos, some of the extraordinary traditions, I would say. So, thank you again for mentioning that. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's instrument discussion, and thank you for sharing your invaluable thoughts with us. Thank you for taking out time to talk to us and do the research surrounding this beautiful Igbo instrument. It's been an interesting conversation, and I really want to appreciate your time. Thank you again.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Kosi. Thanks
Lucy.
for organizing this.
Yeah.
And
Thank
thanks
you.
to the African Music Library.
Thank you. Very insightful
Thank you,
session.
Thank you, Kosi.
Bye, everyone.
Also, do not forget that this episode was brought to you by the African Music Library. Subscribe to our podcast and Just Play Music, and follow us on our social media at AML by Just Play. See you next time.